All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Boston Boys Sports Podcast. I am, of course, one of your three hosts. I am the King of Carver. I am Eli Horrigan. I'm here with the beard, the best one in the business. Second best one is Steve, but the first still goes to the beard. Kiefer Bontos. What's up, Kiefer?
Oh, Penn State, baby. Penn State.
Well, listen, good luck to you. And Stevie, big win. Stevie Stats, our other third host. Third in number only, first in our hearts. Congratulations, big win in overtime. No Carson Beck. I mean, what a win! What a win for you guys.
I know, crazy. I mean, it was scary, obviously losing Carson, but they pulled it out.
They did it. Before we jump into sports, we want to mention we are partnered with Jones and for Sports. We make sports better. So check them out on X, check them out on Instagram, check them out on YouTube. They're putting out great stuff every single day, as are we. 90,000 impressions today. Is that correct, Steve?
Yeah.
He's been interacting all day long with you guys in college football on the great debate going on right now. And that's the Heisman debate, Steve. Why don't you kick it off? Because you've been arguing all day.
Yeah, I'm on Travis Hunter. I don't know. It's funny because Vegas odds have him as the overwhelming favorite, but it seems like on Twitter it's 80-20 the other way, which is kind of shocking to me because I don't see it that way.
Kiefer, weigh in.
I don't see it 80-20, but I've been seeing the same thing. It's more torn than the presidential election would have been. It's insane. You're on Facebook, on anything that I'm seeing, you see arguments for both sides of it. It's clearly those two are the front runners. I don't know. Hunter plays both sides of the ball. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the group text, and my initial response was Ashton Jeanty because his numbers are Madden-like, and I wanted to stand by that, but the more I looked at it today, I'm like, it's not. It's Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is so good on offense, and he's that good on defense too. Like the issue, like Steve, you said it a lot. This is not MVP. This is the best player. And I don't know. I don't think Travis Hunter is going to play both sides of the ball in the NFL, but right now he does at Colorado, and there's nobody better than him.
No, I completely agree with that. And I was looking at the numbers today a lot because of the discussions, and it's, he's going to end up at the end of the season 5th in receptions, 5th in receiving yards, 2nd in receiving touchdowns. And then he also won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Like to be able to do both of those things in the same season. Like, I mean, the one person like I always respected was like a Charles Woodson. He played a little, did what he did, but this is just different. This is something I've never seen. We've seen running backs do what Genty's doing this year. We've never seen anything like Travis Hunter, in my opinion.
No, not on both sides of the ball. Not how good he's been. I mean, the 14 receiving touchdowns, like, kind of blows me away because I don't watch a lot of Colorado football. They're on the other side of the country from us. So to watch their games, you're either watching them late at night or you're watching Georgia, you're watching Penn State, I'm watching Michigan. So it's so hard to follow. There's like 129 Division I teams or somewhere in that neighborhood. It's like to follow them all. I knew he was good, but when I started looking at those numbers, I'm like, no, that's the best player in college football for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah. No, he definitely, he played, and then you said the NFL thing, I think if he plays defense in the NFL, you're going to see him as a gadget player on offense. You don't have to play both sides every down, but if he's that good in both sides of the ball, you could see him potentially being a gadget offensive player. The kid is that good.
Yeah, I think he could. My issue is the wear and tear. If you're going to invest a number 1 overall pick in a guy, you're just doubling the chances that he could get hurt. So you pick whatever you think he's best at. And then, like you said, he becomes a gadget, or he's an offensive player, and then he becomes a weapon for you on defense as well in certain packages.
No, I agree. He's just I've never seen anything like it. He plays 100 snaps a game. 100 snaps a game.
Oh, that makes me want to ask the next question. Does that concern you as a team that would draft him early, that he has that much wear and tear coming into the NFL at 185 pounds?
Definitely something to look at if you're a GM. I mean, if you have the number 1 overall pick, I mean, he's so good that your need is going to air to him. But I would definitely say that would be something that a GM or a scout's looking at is he's played a lot of downs. It's how they look at running backs when they hit 29. You know, it's like he's got a lot of miles on him.
Yeah, that's how they look at running backs that played for 4 years in college football.
Yeah.
Well, they've had a lot of wear and tear already, in Division I football. This is going to affect them. So, I mean, a guy that never comes off the field for 2 seasons at Colorado.
Yeah.
That's scary. Again, I mean, he's 6'1", but he's about 180, 185. That's got to be a little concerning at least.
On paper, too.
Go off his endurance, brother. Go off his endurance, though. That to play 100 snaps a game 2 years straight is unreal and unheard of. He might be just a different breed. He might be something new to the NFL. You don't know.
Agreed, he might be something different, but at 185, if you're going over the middle and there's a middle linebacker waiting for you and hits you, you can be a different breed all you want. But 225 beats 185 when you don't know it's coming, and Peyton Manning throws you a grenade over the middle.
And they run the same speed you do.
Yeah, exactly. That's tough when Roquan Smith is coming at you. But anyway, before I wanted to do something before we started, but we got into this right away. And both of these guys don't know this is coming, so I wanted to play a little game with you guys. I see stuff on TikTok all the time. What I'm going to do is you guys are going to try to figure out the athlete that I'm talking about based on hints I give you. And I have 6 hints, and I want to see if you guys can figure out who this player is. So collectively together, are you guys ready?
I think so, yeah.
All right. So hint number 1 for this guy, and we'll take a guess after every one. So obviously hint number 1, this is a power forward in the NBA, or was a power forward, I should say.
Okay.
Take a guess. Any guess. Throw out a power forward.
KG.
KG and who?
Kevin Willis.
Kevin Willis. So incorrect on both. Good. Hint number 2. He was a top 10 pick in 2002.
2002?
2002. Top 10 pick, power forward.
There you go.
That's what, the year before the LeBron draft?
Wow, that's going way back for me.
We can move on to number 3 if you'd like.
Damn.
Because yeah, no, yeah. Go to number 3.
Wally Zerbiak.
Well, he's not Wally. I believe Wally was a small forward, but
I think so. I think he played a little 4 later on, but yeah, he was a small forward primarily.
Hit number 3. He was drafted by the Phoenix Suns. Stevie's getting close.
He definitely way closer than me because I can't. Phew. 2010. I need another one.
Yeah.
All right. Hit number 4. He was a career 18.9 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game.
For Phoenix?
Well, that's his career.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Drafted by Phoenix in 2002, top 10 pick. And he's a power forward, basically 19-8 for his career.
You have 2 more hints left or just 1?
I'm completely blank. The only name that's coming into my head, and I know it's not right, is Amari Stoudemire.
It's Amari Stoudemire.
Okay.
Oh.
The only thing I couldn't remember is with it. I had the Knicks on my mind, and I know he played in Phoenix, obviously, but it was just making sure he was drafted by Phoenix.
Drafted by Phoenix. He got a big contract in Phoenix. They traded him to New York. My last 2 hints were his last season was 15-16 with Miami, which wouldn't have given anything away, I'm sure.
No.
It was a 6-time All-Star.
Maybe, because that sounds like where he would have been.
But I just thought it was a little fun game. But Stevie, it only took 4 for you. So congrats. My hat's off to you.
But you
was a
you
fan of-
probably had it before 4 too.
I was
I
a
could-
fan of Amari. He was the stud.
I had a Phoenix Suns Amari Stoudemire jersey. I also had a Stephon Marbury Suns jersey too, believe it or not.
Nice.
Let's go way back. But all right, well, that was good. I wanted to play a little game with you. And Stevie, hats off to you. 4 hints later. I knew at hint 3, I saw your face like the wheels were turning. I'm like, he's got to know it's Amari right now. These are games we would play all the time when we were at work. So,
Yeah.
but jumping back into just sports in general, like I said, we did this last week. It was an agenda-free Saturday. We do agenda-free. Have you guys heard about this new Major League Baseball golden rule?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. What is it?
Oh.
So this new golden rule, they put on the table once per game, a team would be able to send any hitter to bat regardless of where they are in the batting order. Now, here's the caveat, because it hasn't been explained any further. I want to know, does this mean we'll just put a hypothetical? Let's say we're at the number 2 spot in Boston, right? And Rafi Devers bats 3. And you take Rafi Devers and say, I want him to bat 2. Does he then bat 2 and 3? Or do we start from Rafi Devers? Or does it replace where we're at in the lineup?
Or does it just
don't
switch
know.
him in switch him in the lineup? Does it switch him from 3 to 2 for the rest of the game?
And that's the thing. There's
No.
so many caveats. There's nothing really explained about this rule. It's just once per game, teams would be able to send any hitter to bat, regardless of where they are in the batting order.
Well, that's so say Shohei's up, he strikes out. Can he just say, no, I'm up next again?
In
It can go
theory,
behind as well. Yeah.
in theory, yeah, Dave Roberts could say, I'm using my golden rule. Shohei's up again.
Yeah. Stay in the box.
That doesn't make sense, though.
This is a rule that's being proposed by the commissioner.
They're desperate.
That changes the
Viewership is
whole
down.
aspect of a batting. That changes the whole aspect of a batting order.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm asking you your thoughts. Do you like this? Do you hate it? Tell me about it,
That's
because
fucking awful.
Steve, I assume you feel the same way.
I do. I just think it's a stupid thing that they're trying to do to get viewership. They're so desperate because young kids aren't watching baseball. Unfortunately, the biggest baseball fans are getting older and they're dying. I mean, not to be morbid, but it's true. I mean, that is the biggest fan base. They're desperate. So to say at the end of the season, I pick a name, somebody who's not great. Connor Wong averages 3.2 at bats a game because a lot of times they bat Devers, or going over the year, once a game they bat Devers for.
Yeah.
So now baseball has the added excitement of, well, now your superstars, you might see them 5 times a game, not 4. They might average 5 at bats a game instead of 3.6. Whatever they works out to over the season, but no, I can't stand it. It's so stupid. It's such a desperate move.
You said this the other day when I sent you that video of the guy who's the most feared batter of all time. People are talking all time, and he said Bonds. And then we started talking about steroids. I would rather them let people go on steroids again to fix baseball than you change a rule that has been in place. The batting order has been in place since baseball was created. So why change that and not just let somebody juice again to jack up the home run rates? So you have a home run races so people come to the game and watch. Because you said Sosa and McGuire saved baseball. That year that they went on that run, both of them. Why not do that? Why change a rule and put someone in this? This rule is stupid. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, so and this is not against you, Kiefer. This is for any sportsman out there. I think you're naive to believe that they're not still doing steroids, because home runs are still up. I mean, we're talking 2019. The league as a total had 3,298 home runs. So, I mean, that was the most ever. That was a few years ago. They had 2,900 last year and 2 years ago, 2,700 last year. So they're still hitting home runs. I agree with Steve. This is a total marketing play to try to get young fans interested so they can see Shohei more. You see what sells. The Savannah Bananas sell. You know, the Fort Lauderdale, what's their team name? It's whoever they play, Fort Lauderdale, the Wild, something like that. This is what sells. You have the Savannah Bananas going around selling out parks like Fenway. And then on a normal, Saturday afternoon or Saturday night game, you can't fill that ballpark because we're in the age where kids don't want to sit and watch a 4-hour game. They've already instituted pitch clock. They're instituting things to keep the batter in the box. I have news for Major League Baseball. When we were writing articles for the Boston Boys Sports, I wrote a whole article on how to fix baseball. Get rid of interleague play, too. Interleague play is garbage, and it wastes a bunch of games per season. You don't need to play starting with February. Here go the buses down to Florida. Pitchers and catchers. Then we have a month and a half of spring training. Then you have nobody's watching baseball in April anyway. You're watching NBA and NHL playoffs up until June. You have the end of the regular season, and that's why everything ends. And then you're in the dog days of summer, and no one cares about baseball in August. It's too long of a sport. And we're the last of the fans who actually enjoy baseball. And it's hard to enjoy baseball when you are pumping out teams like the A's. They should strip the ownership out there. You have so many teams that just they don't care. They just want cash in their pocket. They want to spend as little on players. And John Henry's guilty of it too. Now, if they go sign Shohei Ohtani, then I'll change my tune on that. But the only reason they're even in the bidding for Ohtani, if they get him, is maybe because finally they're hearing fans say, "This sucks. I don't want to go to Fenway anymore."
Sorry, I laughed at because it's you don't see Fenway selling out like you used to. Like you said, baseball used to be a golden thing when I was a kid. I used to love going to Fenway as a kid, and nowadays I can ask my kid, "Oh, you want to go to your Red Sox game?" He'd rather go to a Celtics game, rather go to a Patriots game. Then it's not killing you. It's not this, that. It's not slow paced like sometimes baseball can be. So you're not wrong. Baseball's baseball, and it's always going to be just baseball. But shortening the whole spring training stuff, agree. You could even shorten the season if you wanted to.
That's what they should.
Yes.
Even shorten the season. What? 110 games? 100 games?
The problem is, I agree. I mean, I've said this. I think I was under 100. I forget what my number was, but it was like 90 something, I think. But the only reason, and they won't do this, is because greedy players and owners want more and more and more and more money. And if you shorten the season, you shorten their bank accounts. Maybe they won't be billionaires forever, but the game is legitimately dying before your eyes. And people say, "Oh, the game's not dying." They're signing $700 million contracts. They're signing $700 million contracts because the economy and inflation is up and the dollar amount. You can push this out, and they're deferring contracts as well. First of all, MLB should get rid of that. You can't defer contracts. This is stupid. And it's not if Juan Soto did it in Boston and they said, "Oh, they signed him 15 years, but they get to pay him for the next 50. It's stupid. I think it's dumb. How does that, that should go against your cap. There should be something in place that means you have to pay. You're killing your own sport, but then you're hiding behind the fact that it's well, no, we're still selling tickets. It's so ridiculous.
The deferring of contracts really pisses me off. And it's some of these contracts, including the Ohtani, are deferred out so far that the current ownership may not have to pay it, which is insane. That's literally promising money to somebody to get them to come to you, knowing that you're not going to have to pay them in the end. Somebody else is. That's absolutely insane. A 6-year contract, and if Finona sells, 4 years later. Or even the Celtics. The Celtics, that's kind of a perfect situation.
Mm-hmm.
They extended Porzingis. They extended Holiday. They extended Brown. Tatum. They did everything they did. And they knew they were going to sell if they won a championship. And now they put a for sale. So they literally signed people for millions upon millions of dollars, close to $1 billion between those players. And they're not going to have to pay it in the end because they're selling the team anyway. So to be able to do that, that's like me saying, I'm going to go buy a car, an expensive car. I'm going to sign a 7-year contract on that car or, loan on that car, but somebody else is going to pay it at the end of the 5 years, but I'm still going to get the bonuses of having it now. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even think it like that.
Deferring payments, it does nothing for the game right now, because all you've done is you've made a super team in the Dodgers, who now signed Blake Snell as well. They just keep signing people, and while that's great for the Dodgers, it's not great for the game of baseball. Like I said, the sport itself is dying anyhow. Okay, and even if the Red Sox go get Juan Soto, right, and then they're like, oh, we're also going to sign Alex Bregman, and we're going to make him our DH, and then we're going to get Corbin Burns and Max Fried. We're going to sign all these guys, but what we'll do is we'll just defer the payments. We'll pay them $1 million a year until 2029, and then in 2030 they'll start getting paid $50 million a year, and then John Henry sells the team in 2028. Now you're just going to have new ownership come in and say, we have to cut everything right now. And then you're on the back. If you're a Dodger fan right now, you're happy. But when it comes time to absolutely gut that team, and then you end up like a team who's in the dumps for years, you've just screwed your whole fan base. You've screwed your organization. In the meantime, you're killing the sport.
Yep.
No disagreement.
And just get rid of so many of these useless fucking months and games. Spring training is like starting in February now. Like we're talking about, like, get the buses. We got to get to Florida. It's like, just start that in spring. It's not warm anymore in April. You have teams coming up to Fenway. It's 35 degrees. It's freezing out. Start the season in May and have October baseball never extend past October. I don't want to see a World Series game in November.
You don't like April and November games in Minnesota?
No, it's so
with no roof. I mean, it really is so dumb. Like, I can't take baseball seriously until June. And then, like you said, by August, I'm like, I know the Sox are playing, but honestly, I'm not watching the game. Like, I'll put it on while I'm cleaning the kitchen and I can hear it. Like, it's so tough. It's so long.
And it's different because when we were kids, first of all, that was the height of baseball. For us, the Red Sox, like Manny, Pedro, David Ortiz, all these guys, Noma, all these guys who we loved watching. That was an experience. It was the summertime. It was 7:00. You and your buddies watched the game. You had sleepovers. Kids aren't watching the game anymore. No. They're just not. They don't care.
Or you sit out in someone's backyard playing wiffle ball with a tennis ball or whatever, and you're sitting there pretending to be Nomar and pretending to be Manny, jacking home runs and breaking windows. Kids really don't play break windows no more with baseball. It's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, legitimately, I can only bat wiffle ball lefty because I wanted to be Ken Griffey Jr. so bad when I was a kid that I taught myself how to bat lefty, and it feels odd with something that light in my hands batting righty. So I bat lefty in wiffle ball, even though I'm right-handed. And if you give me a wooden bat or a metal bat, I just look like a deer on ice. You know what I mean? I can't bat lefty with a metal bat because it's too heavy, and it's so awkward for me that it's like that's not my natural motion. Kids aren't doing it.
I taught myself how to bat lefty. I did the same exact thing. I can do it with a metal bat, but if I was gonna swing righty, it was Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah. Greatest player out of Massachusetts.
You sit there though. I don't ever see kids try to do that anymore. I see kids playing basketball, and I don't even see kids really like getting together like 7-on-7 playing football anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different generation. It's just, I don't know how they do it because when I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports player.
And that's the thing is like, this is the generation of swiping and TikTok and everything within 15 seconds. So when you have a game that lasts 3 hours and it's 1-0 and pitchers duel, they don't appreciate that because their attention spans are this big now. So you have to fix the games, and the golden rule to me isn't the fix to the game that the game needs. Seeing Shohei Ohtani bat 5 times in a game isn't going to make that 10-year-old kid be like, I have to sit down and watch an entire Dodger game.
Oh no.
No, but so to have a conversation on that, we've kind of discussed shortening the season, changing, the window of the season. But but talking about like this generation and trying to get people back into it, or younger people into it, how would you do that instead of thinking about longevity, the whole season? How would you make it a single game more exciting? How would you do anything within the game, the one game, to catch somebody's attention, to make those people want to stay? Like, that's the question. It's not about like shortening the season. It's not about anything like that. It's about getting in people to watch a game and enjoy the 9 innings. Or do you shorten the game? Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to catch.
Well, I think you mentioned it earlier. The Savannah Bananas, they do all that theatrical stuff,
Right.
to make the younger generation want to watch them do the stuff. They're doing TikTok dances and all that stuff, but you can't do that in a real baseball game. Like, it's
Right.
it's not normal. I mean, what do you think, Eli? What can you do to fix a baseball game?
Before you answer, Eli, I'm just going to add this. The game, the single game, like the 3 hours, the 2 hours, cutting it down to an hour and 42, that's not going to change anything. What is, with this generation, what is the theatrical thing that they could do? What is the thing that they could draw somebody to actually want to sit on their couch and watch for an hour and 45 every single night?
Sit on your couch and watch, I don't know. But one of the things that you could do, and this is not an original idea, I've heard this on sports talk radio, you have to make the game more acceptable. And by doing that, it is almost impossible to take a young family out to a game. First of all, you guys have youngsters. Kids don't want to sit and be bored for 3 hours. And parents don't want to spend $500 to go to Fenway Park and sit in cramped seats that don't face the game. They face whichever direction you're sitting, and you have to pay outrageous prices to park. You have to pay outrageous ticket prices. It's an arm and a leg. It's a full day. You're talking about somewhere between $500 and $1,000 a day to take you, your wife, and your kids to a game. Let kids go in for free. And that takes the burden off the parents. You have billionaire owners like John Henry and I hope he watches this, that scumbag will pretend that his pockets are hurting, and that's why he can't sign players. You're a billionaire. You own multiple franchises. I can barely afford life because I'm a blue collar guy. And then you want to gouge me at the gate because you need to get every last dime out of me. It's like 2 chicken tenders and a basket of French fries, and it'll cost you $15. I can't enjoy a beer there if I want my kids to eat there. It's outrageous. So let kids get in for free. Just start discounting stuff so the regular average person can go to a game. You see these stupid like seats that are really good, and you see people in suit and tie, and you have to have a 6-figure salary, and it's not even an experience for a baseball fan anymore.
So you ever see me use my Red Sox background next to the dugout?
Yes.
And on this, that's a real photo. Those seats are right next to the dugout, front row, right next to where they get ready to go up to bat. I brought my niece and nephew to a Red Sox game through their school. They got the tickets through there. My sister couldn't take them. Me and my fiance brought them. We get there. It's up in the nosebleeds, up in the center field. We go in. We got found by a person that we were there early for a game because it was a 1 o'clock game. Guy came up to us and goes, "Hey, we'd like to move your seats." And we were like, we're just sitting there confused. Goes, "Oh, we're gonna move you down there." So they move us over to the other side of the dugout. And then they came back, not even a half an inning again. And they're like, "Hey, we want to move you again. We put you in the wrong seats." They're like, "You guys were supposed to have John Henry seats." Every game that John Henry don't sit down there, he gives out those front 4 seats next to the dugout. And he comps everything. I drank 15 beers that day. Granted, I didn't drive. My fiance drove. He paid for all the food for the kids, gave them souvenirs and all that. But he didn't do it for everybody in the fucking. And that's what I'm saying. He didn't do it for everybody. If you can comp it for one person with someone with kids and give them, how much do you think those seats cost per seat?
Thousands.
Right there, thousands. Yeah. If you could do that, you could afford to let some kids get in for free into the bleachers of center field. Like, you're not wrong on that. Eating for because the parents are still going to drink. You're still going to make their money off the adults paying for the booze and the food all day, especially because how overpriced it is. That would be a fantastic thing. I would take my kid to a game once or twice a week just because of that in the summertime, because it's something to do out in Boston. If they could get in for free and I wasn't paying $74 for my kid to sit there and then look at his phone for the next 2 hours after he got bored of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took my nephew at one point. It was like an unseasonably cold day in May. I took him for his birthday. This is a kid who plays baseball and likes the game. In the 6th inning, he's like, "We can go if you want." Like, it's just, and I was like, "You don't want to stay?" And he was like, "No, not really." They're not interested. And guess what? That day, it like pained me because now I'm eating the cost of those tickets. It's like, I'm trying to stay until the 9th inning, dude. Like, this cost me a day at work. Like, there's a lot going on. So yeah, make it. I don't know how to do it better on TV. I don't. The only, like, I like the idea of shortening the season. I hate interleague play. I think it's stupid. One of the beauties of baseball is the American League meets the National League in the World Series, and that's the only time you get to see that team. I like that a lot better. I mean, gimmicky off the top of my head, I don't know, have 2 outfielders instead of 3. So maybe you get a couple more hits in the game tomorrow. Like, and that's gimmicky too. Like, I'm not really trying to do that, but in order to do so, I don't know what the big change is. I know that it's not being like, oh yeah, like, because how many times is this golden rule going to be used for actual purpose? And how many times is it going to be used like, we're losing 5-1 in the 9th. Just let Raffy get another at bat. Maybe he get a home run and pass stats.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, they're letting them. I don't know.
Well, what have they done so far? The pitch clock.
Pitch clock.
How many times you can try to, attempt to pick off?
Yeah. Batter has to be in. It's part of the pitch clock on the batter's got to be in the box.
The runner at second in extras.
Yeah, the extra person on base for the extra innings.
Yeah, like they keep adding ridiculous shit to it.
Yes, and the game
has to bring attention.
Yeah, the game has been the game forever. Shortening the season, the pitch clock is really good. I know why they did the runner at second, and I'm fine with that because they don't want games going till the 18th inning and 4 a.m. Like, they just don't want that stuff. And I get it, because who wants to sit there in those small fucking seats at Fenway with your neck like this the whole time, because you can only get a seat near Pesky's Bowl. Like, so I get all those things, and they're good ideas. The golden rule is not a good idea. It's a stupid idea.
Agreed.
And while we're on the baseball topic, might as well talk about the prize pony of the entire offseason. Where is Juan Soto going?
So I've heard teams have already dropped. He's already dropped teams off the list, and the Red Sox haven't been dropped off yet. I've also heard that the Red Sox offered the highest contract of everybody. How true, I don't know that is.
If the Red Sox offered the highest contract and they lose out, I'm okay with it, because at least they made the offer and it was a legitimate offer. But that also should make you, as a fan, be like, wow, we're not a destination anymore.
That's so sad to hear, because it's one of the pinnacles of baseball, one of the teams of baseball.
Steve's got a thought, and I can see it brewing in his head.
I agree with you. And the only reason I agree with you is because, so the other teams, I mean, the teams that have been included are the Mets, the Yankees, so 2 New York teams, Toronto, and LA.
Yeah.
Like that's been a thing. So all of those states plus Toronto and Canada all have high taxes, so you couldn't say that taxes came into play. So if the Sox came in with the highest offer and they miss on him, you can't blame John Henry for that.
No.
It would be ridiculous. So I agree. I because of the tax situation, I completely agree. Because that does come into play.
There is a wild card team out there. It has been said that there's a 5-year, $25 million contract from the A's. And they're hopeful he'll take a cut. to play
God.
3 years in Sacramento. Did,
I'm
and I
rooting for him.
talk Soto, but did you see that they said Luis Severino just got the highest contract in A's history, and they made it sound like it was like 3 years, 57 million, and yeah, he's not even going to be on the team when they're in Vegas. Like the contract is over in 2028. That's when they're moving, I think.
It's their highest guaranteed contract in organizational history. It's crazy.
But back to it, where does Soto end up, Steve?
I'm gonna go with the Mets because it's been rumored that Cohen plans on making the highest offer that it's going to be at the end of the day. So, I'm gonna go with that.
I'll say this: there is no greater way to kill your career than signing with the Mets. There's nothing better.
I agree. I 100%. It hasn't stopped anybody. I agree.
Pedro, Johan Santana, was Scherzer. Didn't Syndergaard go there? I mean, if you want your career to fucking collide into the Andes Mountains like the movie Alive with that soccer team eating each other, sign with the Mets.
Christ.
Yeah, that was about as brutal as I could go. The Mets are a career suicide. And Juan Soto, it's like the curse of the Madden cover. If you go to New York, get ready for knee surgery, shoulder surgery, your back's going to go out, you'll have plantar fasciitis, you'll play maybe 2 seasons. You'll be happy as a pig and shit with all that money, but your career will go in the dumps.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he actually signs with the Red Sox.
Optimistically, I think if the Red Sox offer the most, that's where he's going to go. I do think he ends up back being a Yankee. That's where I think he's going.
Dude, that's the great. Have you heard anything about the Yankees in him?
No, but it's the Yankees. It's a powerhouse lineup. The Yankees, for all that we dislike the Yankees, they are one of the great all-time franchises. They know what they're doing, and they don't care about money. They care about winning, and that's the Steinbrenner way. And I know George isn't there anymore, but you never really hear things. Guys just kind of go there, and then they allure them with the pinstripes, and somehow they end up signing guys. They are the Dodgers of the East.
Fair enough.
And I will say this: if the Red Sox go get them, you just push all your chips into the middle of the table and go get a couple more. Because as much as I love Juan Soto, you're going to be batting a lot of lefties in that lineup.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
You need a righty, and that's where Pete Alonso might come in.
I knew that was coming.
Well, it's a right-handed bat to stick between Devers and Soto if you get Soto. Because what's that?
That's true. That's true. My only question is, to the Yankee side of it, if you're looking at the Red Sox versus the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton's getting old. Aaron Judge isn't getting any younger. Like, if you're looking to sign a 14-year contract, is something that's been rumored, 12-year, 14-year contract, which team looks more intriguing?
Red Sox.
Over the length of the contract.
Red Sox.
I think so, too.
I mean, you've got guys
in general.
Farm system as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cedane Rafael has proven to be a good pro. William Bray is a good pro. You got Roman Anthony. You got Marcelo Mayer. You got a lot of guys in your system.
Darren
Duran, yeah.
Now, the other thing is if you're the Red Sox,
Cassis.
Sorry. Cassis. No, that's fine. That freak. Would you trade some of these young prospects? Like if you landed Soto and there was a chance to get a young player of your liking, whoever it is, Julio Rodriguez just comes to mind because I love the Mariners just from the Griffey days, and I love Julio Rodriguez. Like, let's say you could go get Julio Rodriguez, but they wanted Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer, and name a pro on the team that you're willing to part ways. Trevor Story, just to take money or something. Like, would you take that?
If you got Soto, I think you would have to, but I would want to go more towards like the Garrett Crochet's of the world and get a starting pitcher.
Just thinking that.
Like that, I would absolutely move prospects for somebody like that to get a number one in here. But yeah, if you have the ability to get Soto, I mean that pushes. You can figure out prospect wise, position wise. We don't have room for some of these guys. because we have the Sotos, we have the Durans, we have the Abreu, we have a Gold Glover, and right. So it comes to a point where when you look at your roster, you say to yourself, even though this guy looks like a great prospect, there's not a spot for him within the next 4 to 5 years. So we might as well get something out of him now and make a trade.
I agree, and there's another side of this as well. I don't fucking care about the prospects. I don't. Until you're wearing a major league uniform, you're not a major league player. I don't care how good Roman Anthony is in AA and in AAA. That's great. Lars Anderson was too.
Yes.
You
Great
know what
name.
I mean? Like Jackie Bradley Jr. was what they call a 4A player. So I don't care about how good you are until you're in a major league uniform. And guess what? Some guys pan out. You know what I mean? Obviously, the major leagues are filled with guys who were pretty good, very good, average AAA players. You don't know who you're getting until they actually put on the uniform. You traded Hanley Ramirez to Miami, and he played well for Miami, and then he ended up coming back here. But it's like, okay, so if you get Juan Soto and then you move Roman Anthony, but in the meantime, you get, like you said, Garrett Crochet or somebody who's really good who you want. Name anyone out there, and you get that guy, and they're good for you, and Roman Anthony's good. That doesn't mean it's a losing trade.
No, not at all.
Absolutely not. I mean, think of Pedro. I mean, we got Pedro for Kyle Pavano and Tony Amos Jr.
And Tony Amos Jr. was an absolute. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. No, it's Kyle Pavano. You had Kyle Pavano and Brian Rose in your farm system at that time, who were your two big arms, and they moved Pavano and again Tony Amos Jr. and you got the greatest pitcher I've seen in my lifetime, Pedro Martinez. You know what I mean?
They're with you too, yeah.
There's 1, 2, and 3, and we got to witness all of them. Actually, sorry, 4. Like 4 of the greatest that I would put on all-time starters is Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, and they were all around. They were all in the league at the same time.
And if you're looking at peak as opposed to like full career, I would put Clayton Kershaw there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. There was no one better than Kershaw. I mean, in the regular season, he shit his pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're talking regular season stats, Kershaw was he had like a 5-year stretch. He was one of the best pitchers ever to do it.
One of the highest peaks. I mean, any of us will ever see.
Yeah. I mean, you can say, and obviously he's not as good as these guys, but Scherzer there. Scherzer had a few years there where he was unhittable.
Oh, he was
real Santana.
Johan Santana was just filthy for years and years and years. But so that's going to kind of do it for me for the Red Sox side of things, because I know we want to kind of get to the NFL too, which is a big one for us because we are right in the thick of the NFL right now. I just wanted to propose something while we're talking about NFL. Is the NFL product, should we be worried? Is it getting worse? We have 19 NFL teams that are 500 or below 500.
I don't think a lot of it has to do with the officials in the game.
Well, and we can talk about that because the Chiefs definitely have had a lot of favorable calls, but that's one team. We have 19 teams in the NFL that are 500 or below. That feels almost like there's no parity in the team, unless the parity is that you have a lot of bad teams.
Bad teams, bad attitudes by players not wanting to play where they're playing. You can name 1,000 different things that's messing up all this. I've never seen it this bad. I never have. And it's not even that the teams can be bad. It's just a lot of competitive games for a lot of mediocre teams.
But Steve, I'd like to get your thoughts, because before I just jump back down, is there a problem in the league with parity?
I think there's a problem in the league with development of players, with some of your young players. I think you definitely see issues with like personnel moves and then roster moves. And I think you just have right now. You have some teams that are just better than others at building rosters. Which, I mean, yeah, I mean that says yes to your question, to the parity question. But I don't know. I have to see it for more than a year to believe that it's a problem. It just could be a one-off. Next year we could go back to the norm. But I mean, this year's been kind of weird. It's been very weird.
Okay, and that's fair enough. So then let's kind of go to the good teams. We'll start talking about the page. Well, no, as I was good teams. I said good teams. My apologies. I love the Patriots, but
What's the opposite of a Freudian slip?
I don't know. All right, so let's talk out of the good teams. So we have 13 to pick from. Who do you want to see in the Super Bowl, or what do you think makes the best Super Bowl 59? And I have a feeling we all have the same answer.
Detroit, Buffalo.
I hate
Steve?
that you said that. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Detroit, Buffalo. That's the only answer.
Yeah.
It's the battle of two losing franchises, and one team finally gets a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
And let me tell you something. I think Detroit would fucking steamroll them.
Detroit's. We've been saying it all year. Detroit is so good. Dan Campbell, I love watching his after game speeches. That dude gets me so pumped. Like,
Yeah.
I get my adrenaline flowing, man. Like, that dude, I told you we're this good. We don't need to be perfect, but we just win games. I'm like, oh, man, this guy's got a heart right here.
I'm a Dan Campbell lover. I am. But if they
Man.
don't win, it'll be on Dan Campbell because there are times where it's okay to just take the points.
Yeah, it's some questionable stuff. I know. But that's why he makes the game exciting. He really does.
All right, let me ask a question. Put those two teams aside. What will be your second?
Oh.
I can't use either of them.
Nope.
Who do I think would be the best? Pittsburgh, Philly, Battle of Pennsylvania. I don't like for purposes of what would make the best. Pittsburgh plays great defense, and Philly, like that's not a bad one. Any AFC team is good. Like the Baltimore Ravens, I like the way they play. But NFC, I mean, would it be cool to see the Commanders? Sure. I don't know that I would care as much. Pittsburgh, Philly's going to be my second answer.
I say Philly. Philly Ravens. I would want to see Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry run through this Super Bowl together. That would be a good game.
Steve?
That's a good one. I'm Baltimore, Minnesota.
Ooh.
Baltimore, Minnesota.
The Battle of Purples?
Yep, because I'd love to see Lamar Jackson win. I would, all this talk. He's MVP has been bullshit, and he can't win. So it'd be good to see him get over the hump. And then Minnesota just cause. I mean, my father was a Minnesota Vikings fan back in the day, and it's another organization that's never been able to do it. Like that, I think it would be great to see.
Yeah, it would also be fun to watch Sam Darnold absolutely puke all over himself on the national stage. He's come back down to earth too, by the way. So
Did you guys think of Colin Cowherd? He was like, he spent 152,000 minutes talking about Darnold over the course of Darnold's career. He's finally doing something.
He is finally doing something. I'll give credit where credit's due. He's had a good season, but I think he is slowing down. But they're still a good team, and they're in the running. And if you have Justin Jefferson to throw to, you're fine. But like I said, Pittsburgh, only because I would love to see Mike Tomlin get another ring to add to his collection, only because he's good. But the one ring he has still has a sniff of Bill Cowher on it. And I'd love to see him get his own because he's been a really good coach and a consistent coach in the league. And as corny as Russell Wilson is, he's had a career resurgence. He's looked good. Nice to see Justin Fields get one after he was he was railroaded in Chicago, basically left for dead. Cool to see him get one. TJ Watt is absolutely fantastic. My boy Roman Wilson on the IR was supposed to be good this year. He'll get one from Michigan. It's just a good team.
Do you think that they could, in all reality, though, do you think that they could beat Philly in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because I think Philly's fraudulent.
Okay.
Tomlin can put together a game plan as well to absolutely do it.
Jalen Hurts, I think, is one of the more overrated quarterbacks in the league.
I agree.
And Devontae Smith is slowly being washed out there.
Yeah.
He needs to go somewhere else.
But I will say, I mean, let's talk about this for a second. How good were the running back pickups in free agency?
Amazing.
Like,
One of the top seasons ever.
I still, we've talked about this a little bit before. It's not that I don't think the running backs are going to slowly like start making a turn as like, oh, they're going to have to start paying them. But boy, when you have a really good one, Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry's had a career resurgence. Josh Jacobs has looked good. The list goes on. Guys changing teams. And then like Joe Mixon leaves Cincinnati, they're completely lost. And Burrow's had a good year. Josh Jacobs, not that I thought Las Vegas was going to be good, but Josh Jacobs, I think they looked at him like, nah, he is what he is. He's been great in Green Bay.
No, he has.
Even Kareem Hunt had a couple of decent games with Kansas City.
Yeah.
Back there. I mean, there's been a few extras too.
Yeah. Now, running backs. How worried, and will he ever be the same? Talking about Christian McCaffrey.
No.
I think you're seeing the next Todd Gurley.
You think he's going to flame out just like Gurley?
I don't know if it's going to be a flame out. He had the feel that he has going for him right now, coming back from that, and then this happening to him now. It feels like I think he might be done. I think one of you called it. I think it was you, Eli, that said that McCaffrey was going to fall off. It was one of you guys said at the beginning of the year he's going to come to earth, fall off, and it's happened.
Yeah.
Point the blinker in this direction because I called San Francisco's demise. I thought the Brandon Ayuk drama was real. They did pay him. Looks like wrongfully so. He got hurt. Debo doesn't look the same. George Kittle's getting older. Brock Purdy's not that good, and we're seeing that. When all the tools around him are working properly, Brock Purdy can be a game-managing quarterback. Brock Purdy can't carry a team. Christian McCaffrey is at that age where running backs just fall off. A guy like him with that many miles, I didn't want to see it happen. I would love for him to be the outlier, but he's not built like Derrick Henry. He's a guy. So, I mean, did you see his calf pop when they slowed it down?
Yep.
That was ugly.
Yep. And he's got a history too. It's not a situation where something happened and we're going to see the possibility of him dropping. I mean, he's got a history of injuries. This is nothing new.
Yeah, and he had like 3 seasons where he wasn't hurt, and it just felt like we were at an impasse with his career. As good as he's been, he's made listen. I hope he gets better. And the uplifting, he sends a message out like this is basically saying like this is in the end. Just got to keep grinding. And that's great and good for him. Your body tells you when it's over. And just because your mind says you can keep doing it, he's just a guy who's out a lot of miles, a lot of injury. Before you start walking and you can't get out of bed, like, why don't you take a look in the mirror? You're 30 years old. You can still be around the game without being in the game. I don't see it going well for him.
Right.
It sucks to see.
It does, but this is, it's father time and it's sped up it's sped up when you're in the sports. We talk about it all the time. A guy's old, he's 32. You know what I mean? Which is younger than all of us. But that's the nature of the beast. When you're a running back and you have the college miles in the high school, a lot of these guys for a high school just hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey. So he's getting the shit kicked out of him from the time he's 16.
You could say you could say that because he's smaller. Because Derrick Henry's the anomaly. The dude ran for like 7,000 yards in high school, ran for 4,000 or 5,000 yards at Alabama, playing SEC teams, NFL caliber teams all the time, and now he's in the NFL at 30, gonna hit 1,900 yards this year.
Yeah,
on pace for 1,900 yards.
Yeah. And the other thing with McCaffrey is if it was a hit that did it or something along those lines, you could look at it a little bit differently. But it's just a non-contact injury. It's his body telling him something's wrong. It's his body failing him without something from the outside causing it. I mean, that says even more.
Yeah, and about Henry too. He played in an SEC where you didn't have really good teams like Texas. Stevie, I know you appreciate that one. Go Dogs.
I like it.
How's Penn State looking there, Kiefer?
Down by a touchdown. They just went into the half. They were down by 17 or 18 at one point, and then they came back before the end of the half.
It would be a pretty Oregon thing to do, is to go undefeated and then losing the Big Ten championship. So good luck to Penn State. Did you see the Sports Illustrated article about the Patriots?
I did.
Depends which one, because I've read a bunch of them.
I read one today that said, I'm going to wait for the Stevie eye roll here. Sports Illustrated reports that the Patriots could entertain parting ways with Gerard Mayo to hire Mike Vrabel. Now, I'll say this. Had they hired Mike Vrabel last offseason, I would have been more okay with it because he's a proven coach in the NFL. But to hire Gerard Mayo, who was your guy, to fire him, to hire another defensive coordinator, basically, defensive-minded coach, might be the dumbest thing I've heard in a long time.
Wow. I agree with everything you just said. I would have hated it
less,
but I hate the Mayo. So I mean, yeah, to have Vrabel would be less ridiculous than having Mayo. However, it would still be ridiculous. But to go and fire Mayo, like you just said, to bring in another defensive-minded coach to coach your young quarterback, like it would, wow, just because stupid, yeah.
I heard a thing on WEI. They're talking about like who would get fired and who wouldn't, and they were saying whose jobs are safe. They said the only job that was safe, and I didn't understand it, was Elliott Wolf.
Can I tell you what I would do to fix the Patriots? At the end of the season ends the next day. Elliott Wolf's gone. Gerard Mayo's gone. The staff is gone. And I'm hiring. It's one hire, two guys, and they have to come together. And if these two guys don't want to come together, then I figure out a different avenue. I'm going Ray Agnew, who's the assistant GM in Detroit right now, and Ben Johnson, who's the offensive coordinator. They already know each other. They're in the same building. You have to assume they've worked together and they like each other. And I would assume they'd be on the same page. You hire two guys who just worked alongside a team that built itself up into a winner, offensive-minded guys. That's what I do immediately.
How did they build that winner, by the way? It was from like the lines out, and then they just traded for a quarterback, a veteran.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
I will die on the hill that Joe Alt was the right pick. I don't dislike Drake May, but at least if they come in, I just feel like you have two guys who work together and know how to build a team. And now maybe they will address the offensive line, which is the biggest problem in the Patriots right now.
It is
one of many. And if Drake May is a brand new engine or a restored engine, I'm not a car guy, but if he is a brand new engine and you have no doors, no power steering, a radio that doesn't work, 3 tires, you do have to just start addressing one thing at a time. So maybe he's the right guy, but we won't know until you build the team around him anyway. Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo aren't the guys to do that.
No.
No, that they are the 6-year-old that is driving what you just explained. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they are. It's ridiculous.
And the idea that the only person that's safe is Elliot Wolf is ludicrous. He's the person blamed the most.
That's what I said. I said it in the middle of the office while I was filing paperwork. I was sitting there like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard on WEEI. And my boss is in that station every day. I'm a 98.5 guy, but he literally, I was like, I can't believe they just said that. Like, why would you call out and say Mayo's not safe? No one is safe besides Elliot Wolf.
I think Mayo is safe, and it's because of Robert Kraft, and it's because of their connection. He's not going to fire a coach in 1 year. He cares about how everything looks. He cares about the optics, which sounds funny considering the shitty ass team he's put together. But he cares about the optics, and the people who work for him, or at least he likes to put on that facade. He's not going to fire a coach. I think Mayo is the one who is the safest in the situation, and only because of Robert Kraft caring about what other people think about him.
I think everyone's safe because I think that Robert Kraft is proving why he's not a Hall of Fame owner as much as he wants to be. And I don't say it disparaging of him, but Tom Brady built the Patriots organization to what it is. And we can say, you hear the people who are like, whoa, when they played the Rams, he wasn't Tom Brady yet. Correct. Bill Parcells built a great roster in which Bill Belichick took over, and Bill Belichick did a good job coaching a team that wasn't built by him, but he did a good job. And then they nursed that defense, and they nursed Tom Brady into 3 Super Bowls, and he got better with each one. And you saw the evolution of Tom Brady over 20 years here. And the Tom Brady who won his first Super Bowl against the Rams and then his last Super Bowl against the Rams looked like almost the same Tom Brady. And you had 2 great defenses. In the middle, yes, he was better each time, and he was great against Philly when they lost. But Tom Brady is the reason the Patriots are even thought of as a great organization, because the newsflash is to all the Boston fans out there who listen to us, the Patriots are not a great organization. The Steelers are. The Giants are. The Packers are. Even the Cowboys are.
Baltimore.
And not as of late. What's that?
Baltimore is.
In Baltimore. The Patriots had a 20-year window with the greatest quarterback ever, and they've been dog shit outside of those windows. As much as I love guys like Drew Bledsoe and Ben Coates and Terry Glenn and even the David Givens of the world. But the problem is you built a team off of one guy, and Robert Kraft has this infatuation, and he has this love for guys around him, Gerard Mayo and Elliot Wolf, and even Bill Belichick for a time. And he can't see the forest through the trees, or the trees through the forest. However it goes, I'm not the most wise person. But the problem is he can't see that. So he sees how much he likes Gerard Mayo, and the bottom line is, well, he's still making money. It's a business, and that's why this team's not where it needs to be.
The fact that you said it's a business is the only argument I'll throw at you, and the only reason I say that is because Robert Kraft at the end of this year is going to need a fall guy. So somebody is going. Somebody needs to take the blame for what happened, and I don't know if it's just as simple as Covington as the defensive coordinator or something along those lines. Somebody is gonna have to go because he's a businessman. And he's going to have somebody to blame for their failure.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's DeMarcus Covington. They're not going to get rid of Alex Van Pelt with his brand new quarterback. He loves Gerard Mayo, and Elliot Wolf, like Kiefer said, is the safest guy in the room. It's DeMarcus Covington.
Yep, I agree.
And you gave him dog shit too. You gave him 2 safeties, one of which didn't even play half the season because of outside stuff. But you gave him 2 safeties who basically can't cover. You signed defensive players like Simone Taki and guys who can't do anything. Devon Godchaux got paid. He stinks. Like they're not good. Keon White's flaming out.
Yeah. And Baumel was out. I mean, that was a little bit different, obviously. That was a bad situation health-wise. But, I mean, you can't blame Covington for that.
No. But Covington will be the fall guy. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, any last words before we wrap this up?
Yeah. How good has Porzingis been looking, guys?
Porzingis has been fantastic, 21-7. Unfortunately, he's not doing. I mean, he's doing. I don't want to say he's not doing much. He's doing his part, but Memphis looks really good tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't even have the game. I'm too busy watching Penn State. So
Morant and Jaren Jackson are playing well. I've been following along. The Peyton Pritchard's got 21. Talk about excellent. Is
he's
that
still good.
But you're getting nothing from Derek White. You're getting minimal from Tatum. Brown hit 20. Tatum's at 17. So listen, it's the NBA. These things, even last week we talked about like, well, what about Cleveland? And then they beat them the next day. I still think Cleveland stinks. I actually don't even think Donovan Mitchell's as good as I thought he was. He's had a lot of stinkers this year.
He struggled.
So
I'm still a fan. He has struggled.
Yeah, nobody really worries me. It's the NBA. They're not going to, they're not going to break any records this year as far as like losses. They're not breaking the Warriors' losses, but it does stink to see games like this where it's like, it's Memphis. You should win, even though Memphis has been pretty good.
Yeah. They have down games, but they did it last season. They do it every year.
Yeah. They don't show up to certain games, and it's a back-to-back night. So
yeah. And I mean, they got up for Milwaukee. I mean, that was a big game for them, especially with Jaylen Brown and his beef with Giannis. That was an emotional situation for them. So I'm not surprised to see a letdown the next night.
Yeah, and before we go to what a weak technical that is by the official. Can you just put the whistle in your pocket? Nothing. They didn't throw fists. Like, let them have the rivalry. This is good for the game.
Absolutely. I think Giannis, I mean, and that was another argument I got into on Twitter. Giannis, if you look at the video, like Jaylen Brown hits the too small. Giannis took offense to it. He threw an elbow and a knee at Jaylen Brown as he was going by. And then Jaylen, does whatever he does, and that's when it's gonna just let them play. Like you said, I mean, the NBA's losing rivalries because everybody's a fan. They're all friends. They all hang out on boats in the off season. If you can have Giannis and Jaylen Brown, two top 15 plays in the NBA, not like each other, let it run. Go. Yep.
Go for basketball, baby. Go for basketball.
That's it.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for me. And any last words, Beard?
I'm good, buddy.
Go Penn State. Any last words, Stevie? Congratulations. Big win.
That's it. Go Dogs.
Absolutely. And hopefully Michigan and Mizzou will play in the Fritos Bowl somewhere. But in any event, that's going to do it for us. Boston Boys Sports. Check us out at Hub Boys Sports on X. You can argue with Steve all you want. Check us out on YouTube. Don't forget, we are partnered with Jones & Ver Sports. We make sports better. Check them out. X, check them out. Instagram, check them out on YouTube. They're putting out great stuff all the time. Guys, well done. Great show again.
Good show.
All right, boys. Take care.
Later, buddy.